I'm here with four Jrotc members: Morgan Farmer, Evan Blair, Zoe Winter, and Kira Tyler. And we're going to talk about Jrotc today. We'll start with Morgan. Morgan, what made you want to join Jrotc and be a member?
Ultimately, I want to join the military, so that was my main reason for joining JROTC, but I also wanted to join because it's good to get into clubs and in high school to look good, but then I realized that it was really fun as well, so I stayed in.
Oh, good. How about you, Evan?
So I joined because I also wanted to join the military to bolster my application for the academies. So I knew I was coming in to high school going to do this, and then the first year was kind of pretty basic, and then we started to do color guard and all that, and I found out about staff, and I wanted to just be active in color guard and Raiders because that was fun, and then staff because you can learn about leadership.
Very good. Very good. Zoe, you're a freshman.
Yes.
So what made you want to become a part of JROTC coming into high school?
So my dad was in JROTC when he was in high school, and he had First Sergeant, which was one of the first people to start up the program, and he wanted me to try it out.
Very good. Kira, you're a sophomore, so were you in JROTC as a freshman?
I was not. This
Okay.
year is my first year in ROTC, and I really enjoyed it. I think it's really good to get more involved with the school and find programs that put you in a more, more in the spotlight, making sure that you keep your morals straight and doing good and helping out around the school.
Very good. Very good. Morgan, you're a senior. Evan, you're a junior. Evan, you had mentioned color guard. And I believe, Morgan, you're part of the color guard as well. Why don't you guys tell me a little bit about that? What led you guys getting involved and wanting to do that?
I guess I'll start. So last year we had a specific class. Major Hernandez taught it, and it was a color guard class. And there was only 4 people in it, and I was one of them. And so we would come in, we'd train, and then for the football games, we'd do color guard for that. And that was really fun. And it was also just a chance to be outside of the normal JRTC class while also still participating. We no longer have that class, but we have so many more people that are interested in color guard because of that we no longer need the class, and we have multiple people now that are trained in color guard, and we are able to do it when we need it. So
Very good.
Same thing really, but when I first started, I was a freshman, and it was right after COVID, so nobody really knew about it, and there was a really wide gap, so it was only seniors doing it, and then me. And then as we kept on going, we started getting more recognition for our program, and I think color guard is the thing that actually makes us recognizable as a program and started that recognition, especially for doing things like football games and the state game last year. So that's really the majority of what people know the JRTC program as.
And I thought that was really cool. Obviously, I was at the state game as well, and you guys presented the colors for the state championship football game that Delta participated in. Talk a little bit about that experience and what that was like.
It was awesome.
it was very fun.
It was sick.
First of all, we went there knowing we were going to do this, and then it was also fun to just watch the game afterwards and be a part of just the whole school rooting for the team. So that was fun, and it was really cool to kind of be almost behind the scenes of the actual football game. We got to go through parts of the building that the spectators wouldn't get to be in, and then being out on the field was also really cool. So
Yeah, it was a huge thing for school pride. We felt so great to be able to do something like that.
Very cool. Very cool. So talk a little bit more about doing color guard for football games, and obviously, at the beginning of the game, everybody's kind of focused on you. Is that kind of nerve-wracking for you guys, or have you been doing it long enough now that it's just kind of, second hat, and you just kind of are able to go through the motions and get it every time?
That's how it's like for me. I don't get nervous anymore, but I know some of our younger people who are just getting trained get a little bit nervous.
I get a little bit of nerves standing there waiting to start, but then once we start going, it goes away, and I get it done, and it's fun. So I don't really get nervous while I'm out there, but before it, just a little bit. But afterwards, it's nice. So
Don't drop the flag, don't drop the gun, that sort of thing. Yeah, I got you. So Zoe, you're just starting out with JROTC, and what sort of things are you involved in through the program?
So I'm in his 4th-hour class for
Okay.
JROTC and staff, and I've been in staff since 8th grade year. I was the first 8th grade class that they started at the middle school.
Explain a little bit what staff is.
So staff is more or less just like getting things ready for the actual classes itself, like set dates for color guard or highway cleanup, like things like
Sure.
that.
The
As well
activities and
as,
stuff like that.
Like marches up and down Main Street for Parade of Lights. And we also do veterinarian lunch on Veterans Day. We actually just did that recently.
Yeah, we'll talk about that here in just a minute. But Kira, what are some of the things you're involved in through ROTC?
So far I've been doing a lot with the archery program and doing a lot of that because that's something that I've done for a while. I did Raiders, which was awesome, and then
Explain what Raiders is.
so Raiders is a team that we put together that does a whole bunch of challenges in a competition against other ROTC teams and see who battles it out better physically.
So kind of like ROTC team competition.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. So, like Zoe mentioned, one of the big things you guys just did was the Veterans Day recognition. So let's talk a little bit about that and just what that meant to all you guys. Obviously, Veterans Day, a pretty big deal for everybody, or at least it should be. But definitely a big deal for you guys in ROTC. Maureen?
So I think it's very important for us to be able to do things like that, because even though the JROTC program isn't supposed to like lead people to the military necessarily, I think it's really important for us to thank our veterans, and serving dinner for them is like just a little bit of a thank you that we can give to them as a program. So that's why we did that.
Very good. Evan, what was it? What did it mean to you to be able to do something like that?
My dad was a veteran. He is a veteran. I should say, not was. So it was interesting, just because we also did thank you letters that we individually handed out, and so I gave him one. It was interesting to see his reaction to it. But my freshman year, I did a Veterans Day lunch, and that was fun because we're wearing uniforms, and you get recognition, and people that talk to you and ask you stuff, and they tell you their stories, and so it's fun to just kind of be there for those people, and like maybe they don't have someone to tell their story to, but then they can tell it to us. So that's kind of cool.
It is, for sure. Kira, do you like listening to the stories from the veterans?
I do. I think it's really important for those of us who are looking at going into the military to look at people who have already been there and hear those stories, like some of the things they went through, and gives us something to look forward to or gives us warning on what we should look out for.
Good. Zoe, did you hear some interesting stories?
So I heard a couple stories from like a bunch of people, but it was more of like just here and there conversations. But other than that,
Kind of just easedropping on other people.
Kind of.
Yeah,
You
hey,
could
that's
say
fine.
that.
We
could say that.
can learn a lot. You can learn a lot from just stopping and listening. Kira, you mentioned possibly going into the military after high school. Is that your plan to join the military after being in ROTC, or what are your future plans?
So as it is right now, I'm kind of in a split where I want to go into the Army and be a combat medic or a pararescue, which I think would be a really awesome job, getting to help people in that aspect, or going into diesel mechanics and working on some of the machinery in the military.
Very good, very good. And then you've got a little time
Yeah.
to decide. Zoe, you obviously have your entire high school career
Yeah.
ahead of you, but are you thinking about joining the military after being in ROTC?
Air Force pilot, hopefully, and if not, a mechanic for the planes and whatnot.
That'll be cool. A friend of my daughter, she went to high school with her, and she ended up becoming a tank mechanic.
That's awesome.
Coming out of, and she was over, I want to say she was over in Afghanistan, so that was pretty cool. She actually met her husband over there, and they got married while they were over there too, so that was pretty cool. Morgan, you're a senior,
Yes.
so plans to go into the military. I think you mentioned you were going to.
Yeah, I'm going. I'm trying to get accepted into colleges with Jrotc programs so that I can hopefully get a Jrotc scholarship, and then graduate as an officer.
That'll be cool.
Yeah.
Future plans for you, Evan?
So I'm looking to apply to the service academies, specifically the Naval Academy, and after that I want to, if I get into the Naval Academy, I want to go into aviation or surface warfare. And right now I'm getting to start my application in January, so I'm excited for that. So.
Very cool. You had mentioned, Evan, that your dad was a veteran. Was he a Navy officer?
No, he was enlisted in the Navy, but he was a chief machinist mate in the Navy. He worked on a aircraft carrier.
Oh, very good.
And I actually got to do a cruise with him. We were in the Pacific, and we went from San Diego to Washington on the aircraft carrier, so that was very cool. And it kind of also helped me want to join the military because I wanted to go back and do that again. So
That's cool. That's cool. Any of you, the rest of you, have family members that are military that kind of influenced you to do this? Morgan, you're shaking your head.
Yeah, I think we all do, but my dad was also in the military, and he was a really big part of my life because he was just so cool, you know what I mean? So I just wanted to be just like him.
Very good. Zoe, who's influenced you?
Mostly my grandma and my uncle. They were both in the military. My aunt was a combat medic, and she served for 15 years, I believe.
Very good.
And then my uncle, 2 years ago, just recently retired.
Great. Kira, how about you?
A few of my uncles and a couple of my cousins, and it's funny, it's a family feud because all of them are Navy and Air Force. They yell at me for wanting to go in the Army.
Hey, it's okay to be different.
Yep.
Guys, thank you very much for talking with me today. I know sometimes interviews can be intimidating, but you guys did a great job, and good luck to you all in the future.
thank you.
Thank you.
This video is a production of Mad Cantor Productions and sponsored by Delta Ace Hardware, Delta Cabinet Company, Delta County School District, Delta Health, Dowdy Steel and Machine, Hellman Motor Company, Jerry Ryer State Farm Insurance, 9 Stories Creative, The Sunflower Room, and Taco Time. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe, as it helps me with my coverage of the Delta Panthers.